Hey guys, and welcome to the very recently relaunched Women Entrepreneur Success Show. Technically, this is episode 13, but with an entirely new format, still brought to you by Women Who Wow, the premier coaching and mentoring platform for the seriously driven woman entrepreneur. Today, we have one of our own coming on to you live. You're gonna love her. You're gonna learn a lot from her about what it takes to stay in business very profitably. And her name is Valerie Priester. So you're gonna love this. If you consider yourself a seriously driven woman entrepreneur, if you are done with the Stepfordpreneur March and the following each of these blueprint step-by-step stuff and maybe having some success but giving up your life for it, then you are in the right place. Definitely message me about joining Women Who Wow. m.me/Women Who Wow is the best way to get in touch with me. But before we bring Valerie on, I want to have a little micro moment together. And today I want to talk to you about simplifying success and the whole idea of emotion. And I just want to really challenge you to begin to build your business with actions that you absolutely love to do, right? This makes common sense. However, we don't often do it. We don't do it because we don't think that we actually can do it. We actually think that we have to follow the Stepfordpreneur kind of march and do the things that we don't want to do so that one day we can do the things we want to do. And I just want to share with you that a quick analogy. So the people who are actively they're always fit, they're always healthy, they are, a perfect specimen of health and fitness and all of that. These are people, they don't hate going to the gym. They're not dreading it every day. They don't hate to eat healthily, right? They have actually fallen in love with the process. That's what they've done. And so what happens when you start to fall in love with the process, when you build your business, let's say, in a way that you really are doing actions that you would do anyway, whether you got paid or not, then what happens is your consistency picks up, your energy picks up, and success is definitely sure to follow. And so the challenge for all of us today is to really kind of detach ourselves from the emotion of the outcome. Like, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be free, I'm going to be XYZ after all of this is done, and start to infuse our daily tasks with emotion, right? So I love to do this. I feel so amazing when I do this. This is something that really builds me up or fuels my fire or whatever it is, right? These are things that we really want to, infuse the emotion in our daily stuff. And my coach used to say, essentially, like, get committed to the process and the outcome will take care of itself. Similarly, so you can always use a fitness analogy to this, but when you are doing the stuff like eating clean and moving every day, then the fitness stuff kind of takes care of itself, right? And in business, what happens is we start to have all of our emotion attached to the outcome. And so if we don't see it right away, what happens is we back off of the daily stuff. And I can promise you, and I rail against this all the time, but your success is going to be built on what you do every single day, not what you do one day or what you will do one day, not who you will become one day. Just like your fitness is built every day and your health is built every day, not what you do one day. So I just want to encourage you guys with that. And I did want to introduce, I want to see, Valerie, if you are here, definitely click add so that I can, or click try to come on so I can add you to the live stream. But I did want to introduce Valerie Priester. She is a certified business and life strategist. She is in or around Nashville, Tennessee. That's where I met her first. I was instantly impressed with her. She's a Les Brown coach, trainer, and speaker, a motivational trainer and speaker, an Amazon bestselling author. She has an event coming up for female life coaches, which I absolutely love. She helps female coaches eliminate confusion, frustration, and overwhelm so that they can confidently launch or grow and profitably launch or grow their coaching business. She's going to talk with us today about what it has taken for her to not only be in business, but to remain in business 10 years, to remain in business full time for 7 years. And she's also going to talk with us about something that I cannot tell you how to do because I've literally never done it. And that is how to close over the phone. I actually just refuse to close over the phone. That is the way I do business, right? So I am a writer. I prefer to close via email, and she can teach us how to close via phone. I'm going to, I'm not sure. Let's see if I can bring her on. Oh, I am going to add her on. Awesome.
All right. There you are. Okay, let me get this phone situated properly. There we go. Can you hear me? I can. Unfortunately, I'm hearing myself twice. Can you put earphones in? Oh, yeah. Hold on 1 second. Let me grab those. Awesome.
We are perfecting this process now.
So right now everybody's hearing what I say through my phone and through yours. Okay. That they're ready.
Awesome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
There we go.
So I was just telling everyone that I'm so excited to have you on, not just because you're fabulous, but also because you can teach them what I could never teach them. You know, a lot of people, will say like, I don't know how to close by phone. And my thought is like, well, then, don't, right? Don't try. But you actually do most of your closing by phone. I don't want to start there though. I really want to talk with you just about your business and the hurdles that you've overcome. And I know one of them is going full time, which is one thing, and then staying full time, which is a whole other beast, right? It's like people say, they got a bunch of money to start their business, like they got investment money, and I'm like, you just borrowed money. That's not like something to celebrate. So quitting your job going full time is only worth celebrating. We're going to add a girl you for a while, but eventually it's like, we need to figure out, is it going to work? So you're there, you've been here 10 years, 7 years full time. So what can you tell people about what it took to remain profitable and be able to support yourself during those years?
Okay. Well, you know me, Michelle, I'm very transparent, right? And I like lay it on the line. I tell it like it is. And so the truth is this, right? I am married, right? I have an amazing husband. And when I started my business, I started while I was doing this amazing career. And it was a full-time career. It wasn't just a job. I was a lead project manager for the largest medical center in Detroit, Michigan. And we had like 8 hospitals, right? And I was on the IT project management team. And so it was my responsibility to make sure that when they built new hospitals or added on to the hospital, they had all of their IT infrastructure, equipment, everything, right? And if anyone knows anything about being a project manager, you also know that everything related to those projects lay right here on my shoulders, right? So I was the one, in the boardrooms, talking to the doctors, the presidents of the hospitals. I'm the face of the project while I have a whole team behind me. But I started my business while I was working that job. And it was difficult because I was already working 12 to 14-hour days. And I'd come home and I'd still do, another 3-4 hours of building my business and working my business. And so it was by the love and support of my husband when we relocated from Michigan to Tennessee. And he said, you've been at this thing for 3 years. I know that, you really love this. This is your passion. This is what you're called to do. Why don't you just go full time? So yeah. So while
I love that.
Yeah. While it was a gift to me, it was also scary, Michelle. Now I had to prove myself, right? So
absolutely.
In the beginning, it was like
someone else looking to see, right? Like,
exactly.
It's not just like, hey, have fun playing with business for a little while. It's like, an expectation, right? And you and I had this conversation. Your husband had the sheer audacity to expect you to make money. And I love that, right?
Right,
Because
and help pay the bills.
I actually used to be totally frank and honest, like I used to feel a little bit jealous of women whose husbands were like, oh honey, play around all day, like if you get bored with the business thing, go shopping, like, you know.
Right,
And I used
right.
to get, and I wouldn't have ever said I was jealous, but I felt that, right? And the
Hmm.
truth is now I kind of feel bad because I feel like if I had like married a multimillionaire, I don't know that I would have ever found my drive. Like I
Right.
wouldn't have gutted out those hard moments you're talking about.
Hmm.
And
Exactly.
I never did business part-time
Yeah.
because I wasn't smart enough to, right? Like I never thought I'd be in business. I just did it like
Mhm.
to stay at home and with my
Yeah.
kids, and there was no
Yeah.
plan and there was no lead up, and it's a lot of pressure, right?
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
I think that your husband's expectation and my husband's expectation, it helps us a little bit. It helps push us over those
Absolutely.
humps.
Absolutely. Because it wasn't, I mean, he's by no means a, multimillionaire, but we had a comfortable life. We both had, six-figure jobs. And it
Sure.
was like, this is your dream. I know this is your dream. So, go after it. But then what that did for me, like I said, was it put a little bit of fear in me, because now it had to be more than just this little side thing. It had to be a real business. And I had to create it so that it was a real business and it started to bring in income to not only support the business, but to also, what I later found out, contribute to the household, right? So
That's right.
the,
That's right.
yeah, yeah. So it was a journey, and what kept me in the game of making sure that I build this business to be a profitable business was the fact that I knew I had this gift. I knew I was called for this. I wanted women to live their full potential. I wanted women to find out and discover the power that they have to be, do, and have whatever it is that they want. And so in order for me to do that, I had to stay in the game. And
That's
and that drive kept me there, because it's like, you can't quit when you try to quit, and then you wake up the next day and it's like, yeah, but I can't stop. I just can't stop, right?
that's
And
right.
that's what it was for me. I just could never stop, because every time I tried to stop, to be real honest, what I would see was my first business coach gave me this vision. And I don't even like to say she gave me the vision, but she helped me to realize the vision. And it was about women waiting for me to step into my position of being able to help them be all that they can be, right? Step into
Right.
the position that I was called into, to help them really understand their power and their worth and what they have to offer. And the vision, she took me through a guided meditation. It was kind of weird. Sometimes you get woo-woo coaches, but I love her because it really opened my eyes. And she
Sure.
took me through this guided meditation where I could literally see women who were suffering and who knew that they were created for more, who knew that they wanted more out of life, but they didn't know how to get there, right? I could see single moms, because for a long time I was a single mom. I knew what that felt like. And trying to be able to feed your kids and still live a life that you can be proud of, a life that's fulfilled. I could see those women struggling because they wanted more than just the 8 to 5 job. They wanted more than earning $10 an hour or $12 an hour. And I could see those women. I could see the women that may be on government assistance for whatever reason they were there. Because sometimes you end up there, it wasn't the plan, but you may end up there and you want more for yourself. I could see those women just waiting for me. And
Yeah.
so every single time I try to quit, that's the vision I get in my head. And it's like, I can't quit.
I love that. And I just wrote a post a while back about like people saying like one of the things that they're proud of in their business is that they didn't quit. And like I get it. At the same time, most of the women who posted that, quitting's not an option, right? Because of
Right.
exactly that.
That's
It's
right.
like it's
That's
not
right.
just a responsibility to like
Hmm.
our own goals and dreams. It's a responsibility to our calling and our purpose and
That's right.
what we can do for others. And for me, I was the same. Like well, I mean, I started my business for money, like just to be able to
Yeah.
stay home,
Yeah.
but I started coaching because I realized that like outside of salvation, like the fastest way to change someone's life is to
Yeah.
change how they make a living.
That's
And
right.
that was really key for me because that work dominates so much of our life. And so
Hmm.
for me to be able to, help business owners be less chaotic
Yeah.
and, more cash flow positive and,
That's
start
right.
to take some of that. Like I was sickened by how much time people were spending trying to make money in a business and not making money. Like I
Right.
was, tormented by it. And I was also tormented by all the lies about what it
Oh
takes
yeah.
to be in business, right? And what it
Yeah.
takes to be successful. And I'm like, my
Hmm.
God, like, luckily I never heard those things before I
Yeah.
became a success myself, or else I might not have, right?
Right.
It's
That's
all
right.
BS.
And it's a lot of circles and a lot of there's a lot of untruths, right? There's a lot of good coaches out there. There's a lot of good mentors. Not to take anything away from
Sure.
them, but a lot of times they're not telling you the full story, right? A lot of times it's oh, you don't need this and you don't need that, but when you dig a little bit deeper, you see that they're using the very things that they tell you you don't need in order to make their six figures, and that drove me nuts. I was like, wait,
Yes. Well,
let's just stop.
I was able to, I didn't have any money. I mean, I literally started my business with $50 of an investment, and so being broke, like, when I met with Damon John and he's like,
Right.
do you want me to sign your book, The Power of Broke? I'm like, man, I don't need you to sign the book. I don't need you to write the book because like, one thing I know is the power of
How to
broke.
be broke, right?
Like, I did get to sign the book, obviously, but the truth is, it's like because I couldn't pay for coaching, I had to
Right.
watch what they were doing.
That's
And
right.
there's a popular like launch formula, and I'm like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, what
Not
he's
what you're
teaching on the
doing.
webinar is not what he's doing to get me on the webinar, right? Like, have the decency to
Right.
update your stuff. But
That's right.
people aren't looking. And so for anybody who's questioning, right, like
Yeah.
about a program they want to join or whatever, it's like, don't only look at what they're selling, like look at what they're
Look at what
doing,
they're
right?
doing.
Because
That's right.
it's it's not all, most of it's not hidden. I wrote an
Mm-mm.
article a while
Mm-mm.
back, like everything I do is in plain sight. Just look at it, right?
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
no secret thing going on. It's
Right.
what you teach your clients every day. And
That's right.
tell me,
That's right.
because how many active clients do you have right now?
I maintain anywhere from 30 to 40 active clients a month. So I'm
That's
busy,
crazy to me.
but I love it.
Yeah,
I love
that's
what I
crazy
do.
to me. Yes,
I love it.
I
I mean,
love
and I'm
that.
like you. I started out, the same. I wasn't given a silver spoon. I mean, everything that I invested in my business, it came from the job that I had. I mean, my income, I had to use that money not only to help with the household, but I had to use that money to build my business. And so there were a lot of sacrifices, right? People looked at me and I was crazy. I'm not getting my hair done anymore. I'm going to figure out how to do it on my own. I'm going to do my own nails, right? All of that extra money, I took that and invested it in my business. So it wasn't about my husband paying for my business, because that was one of the things that we,
That's
had
right.
agreed on in the beginning. If you're going to do this business, that's your baby. You have to fund it. You need to do what you need to do for it. So I've
Right.
always funded my business. Even when I went full time, it was still like, okay, I got to still fund this, right? So
Yeah.
it's always about the sacrifices that you're willing to make. But a lot of times when you're listening to the gurus and the people that are making the money, and I air quote that, when you're listening to
Yeah.
them, they're not telling you the behind the scene pieces. They're not telling you that, it's not just to wake up today and say, okay, I'm going to make six figures today. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of planning. There's strategic marketing. There's, all these things that you have to put into place in order to get to that level. It doesn't just happen, but they make it seem like, oh, you can just do this tomorrow and then you can hang out on the beach with your laptop. That's just not true.
Right. Right. And I tell you, like, for me, I feel like, there's a lot you don't have to do.
Yeah.
But your mindset's definitely got to be right, and your
Yeah.
branding's got to be right. And I feel like one of the things that people don't focus on is how to build demand for what
Mm-hmm.
you do, right? Like how
Right.
to build demand for your version of what you do.
What you
And
do.
because you can have all the funnels and the fancy technology, but if there's no demand, if no one is like, you know what, I really want to have a conversation with her, I really want to pick her brain, if that demand's not there, then it's going to be very difficult, to build a practice. And
Exactly.
so I just want to say like how impressed that is, because I used to say like and I was legit, I was honest, and I never didn't say this, just to be clear.
Right. Right.
But I would say, like, my practice, my coaching practice is full, and I was full at 5 clients, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't want more than 5 clients because I didn't love making appointments, and that sounds
yeah.
so trite. It's why I don't have private clients now. But
Right.
I didn't love that, and so I think that's so impressive, though. And I want people who are watching, who are, maybe new life coaches, female
Mhm.
or male, but life coaches or new business coaches or whatever, that she started out and built it, on the
Yeah,
side, and went full time, and is now maintaining a very full, active,
thriving.
profitable coaching practice. And
Yeah,
so, and we've already discussed the mindset of that, like the, being compelled by the vision, right? Like not
hmm,
able
hmm,
to let it go. And I
right.
love that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'd love to hear from you is there any like marketing that you're like, I couldn't have done this without that. Like I couldn't be
Yeah.
where I am now if it wasn't for this marketing strategy or
Yes.
decision or whatever. What is that?
Yes. You know, when I came out of, getting my certification as a coach, I was probably like most coaches, and I felt like I can coach anyone on anything. And I still believe that. I really do. But you can't build a business like that. And so one of the things that I learned is how to make sure that you are, picking a niche that not only you enjoy working with that group of people, but you have what they need. You have the solution to their problem. And it took me a couple of years because I fought that. I was like, no, no, I want to leave it open because I just want to coach all the women of the world. Right. And so I learned again from, my business coaches that that's great that you want to coach all the women of the world, but you can't build a business like that. And I think that was the most valuable piece of information for me when it came to marketing, is getting really clear on who is it that you want to work with? Who is it that you enjoy working with, that makes your heart sing, right? That you have a solution to their problem. The problem is keeping them up at night. Who are those people? And when I got clear on that, that's when things changed in my business. And I still went kicking and screaming, Michelle, because I still was like, I don't want to be a business coach. And
Right.
I look at that now and I laugh. And I remember, saying to my coaches, like, I don't want to be a business coach because, I was certified as a Christian life coach. And it was about helping people change their life. And that's like the only vision I had, is like, I want to, be this life coach. But the people that were coming to me, they were coming to me for help with their coaching business. And so she just plainly said, so who's coming to you? Let's look at that. And I looked at that, and there were all these women. It's like, I need help with my coaching business. How do I start? Where do I start? How do I do a program? How do I price it? Right. And I was like, but I don't want to be a business coach. I was whining and kicking all the way, all the way there. But it was when I surrendered and I gave in to the fact that that's who's coming to me. And not only that, that's who I enjoy helping. That's who makes my heart sing, right? Because I know the struggles. I know what it's like when you can't get your business to generate an income. I know what it's like when you can't
Yes.
get people to hire you. And so that was what, touched my heart.
Yeah.
And when I
I think
surrendered, it
there's a
happened.
there's a lot of confidence at stake there, and even some self-worth
Yes.
for people who, it's not the same as us selling like some sort of I don't
Product.
know, widget, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
because if you reject my widget, like, no sweat, right? Like, she
Right.
didn't like my
Right.
widget. But with coaching, it's a little bit like she didn't like me. She didn't want, she didn't think
Yes.
I was
Yes.
valuable. She didn't think that I
That's
was worth
right.
investing. And so I love that you help people through that. And I think you and everybody else, like, we always resist the niche at the beginning because it almost feels like foolish, right? Like, I'm not making all
Yeah.
the money that I want. Stop. Sorry, my dogs are here.
I
But
love them.
I don't want to turn people away. It feels crazy,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so, but I even get, obviously I run Women Who Wow. And
Yeah.
I still get men who will join Women Who Wow. And they're like,
Yeah.
hey, can I join? And my thought, and even when I did private coaching, I'm like, listen, if your check clears, like, and your
You're
wife
in.
isn't going to get bent out of shape over,
Right.
a Women Who Wow, like, charge coming up, like, I'm good.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
but people don't turn away when you niche. They
They
find
don't.
a way to say,
Hmm.
will you work? You just had this happen today, right? Like,
Yes.
will
Yes.
you work with me? I know you work
Exactly.
with them, but will you work with
Will you
me? And
work with
that's
me?
from generating demand.
Yeah, and I've gotten that before too from even when I remember when I was like really active on Periscope, right? And I had this one guy, I mean, he was like a diehard fan, and he followed me every episode. He was always there. And so the thing that I had to get over when we talk about niching down is not being afraid, to go narrow, because the mindset is, well, if I go narrow, then I'm going to miss out on all of these people. I'm going to miss out on all of this money. But it's quite the opposite. You end up really generating more income because you're speaking to a specific group of people and they can hear you. I mean, Michelle, you know how
Right.
noisy it is out there. If you're not speaking their language, they're not able to hear what you're saying. And so they can't self-identify. And that's what I love about being able to niche down, because people can then say, hey, you're the one that I need to work with.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we talk about something that came up in one of our conversations, and that was that you actually sell effectively on the phone.
On the
And
phone.
I'm not going to try it. I don't love the phone, but a lot of people want to know, and so I'd love for you to kind of give me like a couple like tips, and give people a couple tips for how do you sell effectively on the phone. I've literally never tried to sell on the phone, so I've sold $0 by phone.
Well, here's the thing with being able to sell over the phone and being able to get someone to say, yes, I need to work with you, or yes, I need to be in your program. It really is more about them. And I think a lot of times people make the mistake of getting on that discovery call, a clarity call, whatever you call it. And they're so focused, their mindset is so focused on what they need out of this conversation, right? I need a client. I need to get this person to become my client. And so your mind is so focused on that you are not even entertaining the fact that you have another human being on the other line who has a need. And that's the reason why they even picked up the phone or scheduled a call with you, is because they have a burning need that they want a solution to, and they have identified you as the person that can help them with that. So I think we lose track of that, and we're so focused on, I need to get this client. So one of the biggest things when you're on the phone and really getting someone to say, yes, I want to hire you, is being able to tap into what they're feeling, being able to let them know that they're heard, right? Let them know that you understand what they're dealing with, and let them know that you can resonate with what they're dealing with. And usually, if you're in the right market, if you're dealing with your ideal client, you should be able to resonate with that. You should be able to know exactly what they're feeling. And so when you let them know that, and it like lets down their guard, right?
Yeah.
Now it's not about, oh, I'm not going to buy anything, because everybody comes to the phone with that mindset of, I'm not buying anything, I'm not signing up for anything, right?
Yep.
But when you have a genuine conversation, when you really have that person's best interest at heart, and it's not about you just getting a client, they feel that. And so it's the energy that I bring to the call, it's the concern that I have for that other person, and making sure that I am listening to what they're saying. Now that's key.
Yes.
People
And I
don't
think that's
listen.
huge. Yeah. I feel like, a lot of times you come to those calls and like you said, they have a need, a problem, and they've identified you as a person that can help them. And people get on the call and they actually backtrack 10 steps, and they start talking about themselves and building themselves up and why they should listen. It's like, man, they already decided that, right?
Yes.
And I call it like the Oprah effect, right? Like when Oprah calls, she doesn't say, hey, Michelle, my name is Oprah. I used to have this show on ABC.
Right.
I have the Oprah Network. Like it has the callers OWN. You might have heard of it. She doesn't say any of that, right? It's like it's Oprah is pretty much enough, right?
Exactly.
We need to take that same approach when we get on the call, making it not about us, right? And
right,
so
because it's not.
I tell people all the time, even speaking like live or from stage, it's like, don't make it about you. Don't start with like how amazing you are, because right away, their minds are closed. They're making their grocery list, like whatever.
And they're thinking about, how am I going to gracefully say no to you at whatever you're offering? Because
absolutely.
All the stuff you led with, I don't care about, right? I don't care that you have this string of letters behind your name and you have 5 certifications and, you went to Harvard and you did this. I don't care about any of that. The reason I decided to schedule this call with you is because I thought you were the person that could really help me.
That's right.
And so the more that you listen and you let that person tell you what's going on. Now, here's the real key, Michelle. It's about getting them to tell you what their biggest challenge and struggle is.
True.
And you listening enough to hear what the real pain points in that is. Because a lot of times what they say is not the real pain point. But if you listen carefully enough, you can read between the lines and you can hear it. And then all you really have to do is feed that back to them. But then the real kicker is helping them to visualize better, helping them to visualize what's on the other side of that pain point and
That's
how
huge.
can I get you there, right? Because they don't care how many letters I got behind my name. Can you get me to that vision? Right? Can you get me to the place where I'm making money in my business and my husband's no longer complaining that, hey, I'm having to fund this business and nothing's coming in?
That's
Can you
right.
get me to the place where I have 30 to 40 clients every month, right? Heck, can you get me where I have 5 paying clients a month? That's all I want, right? But a lot of times we're not listening enough to be able to determine what it is that they really want and then how we can help them get to the vision. That's what they want.
And I feel like this comes up even in, just standard like networking and stuff like that, like the not listening. And it's like, I'm only listening, almost like how they tell you not to argue in your marriage, right? Like, it's like, if I'm listening only for the hole in the conversation where I then get to jump in and tell you how right I am, right? Like, we see that playing out in certain places
all
on the main
time.
stage, right? But like, it's like, if you're not listening, then nothing happens and no relationships build. And I love that you bring their attention to that. And I'd like to just wrap up with just final words of advice for women entrepreneurs, life coaches, but also across any, I know you don't just work with life coaches. I know you also work with, people of other
health
industries
coaches.
Who have found you and said, you're my person still. Like, I know you talked to her over there, but I'd like to know what you can do for me. So I'd love to get some final words of advice from you for women entrepreneurs who are committed and, they're not seeing the results just yet.
The biggest piece of advice that I can give, Michelle, is to always be you, no matter what, right? Be the you that you are, the best you, because a lot of times when we're in this entrepreneur world, we try to emulate or copy other people and, try different things, because I did it in the beginning, trying all the different things that I saw the gurus doing or whatever. But I had to come to terms with the fact that there's no one better than me. So just be yourself, right? Find what you love and do that, and do it to the absolute best, but be yourself while you're doing it. Be authentic. Let people see the real you, because they're looking for that real person, not this, pie in the sky person who's, sitting there like, I've always had it all together and I've always been perfect and everything's always worked out for me. No one can resonate with that. Right. Just be you, be yourself, and bring your best self forward.
Yes. And no one's going to beat me at being me.
No
right?
one.
And I just did a week long last week with Women Who Wow, a training on becoming un-Amazonable, right? Like, if you can be Amazoned, you will be Amazoned. Yeah. And the only thing that stands between me and being beat out by, shoot, one day, like robot coaches, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the only thing that stands in the way is owning, like, what Simon T. Bailey, I don't know if you know him, but he said, Michelle, he's like, you just need to, let people see your twisted little view of life and business, right? And it hit me. I was like, you know what? That's right. I need to stop hiding my crazy and just put it out there, and
because that,
people...
let people see it. Because I mean, quite honestly, Michelle, that's what attracted me to you. Is just the fact that, not only were you speaking my language, but yes, you're crazy, but you were speaking from a place of, it wasn't like everyone else. And it wasn't saying, do this same thing. And I'm all about that. I'm not about the cookie cutter things. I'm about really designing it the way that you want it to be. That's why, my motto is designing your victory. You have to design it the way that you want it to be, not the way that someone else says it should be. Because this is your business.
And
you
you've
get
got
to decide.
Build it brick by brick. That to me was like a huge eye opener. And, to me, I'm thinking, it wasn't worth it to me. I'm not gonna lay down my life for a business.
Right.
I'm not,
Right.
you know.
It's not
And
worth it.
I remember
It's not
one
worth it.
time I was being recruited. Yeah, I remember one time I was being recruited into like a multi-level marketing company, which I never did, nothing against it. But I was
Yeah.
being recruited, and
Right.
I said, well, the problem is, like, I'm home during the day with my kids, and at night I want to be with my husband. And so I said, I'm not going to have
Right.
parties at night. And she's like, well, if you do it for 3 to 5 years, then you won't have to do it anymore. I'm like, oh, no, no. First of all, I
No.
don't even know if I have 3 to 5 more years. I have no idea, right?
Right.
But
That's right.
secondly, I've learned enough to know that how you build it is how you maintain it.
It's how you
And
have to
so I'm
maintain it.
not
That's
going
right.
to sign up for that kind of servitude.
That's right. That's right. And that's what I tell my clients all the time. Build it the way that you want it to be. Because however you start, you're right. That's how you're going to have to continue. My mother taught me that years ago. She's like, don't start anything you can't finish, right? So it's like, don't start,
Right.
waiting on someone hand
Kids
and
will
foot.
teach you that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Kids will
So
teach you that
you
too.
can
Like
do it.
people are always asking me, like, how do you get your kids to work? Because my kids are workers. I'm like, well, it ain't multiple choice. In this house, we work, you know.
This is what we
And
do.
it's like there's never another option, you know. They
That's
don't even
right. That's
consider
right.
not working. And
Exactly.
so,
Exactly.
yeah. So anyway, well,
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for being with me,
You're
and I
welcome.
want to thank you guys for watching live and the ones watching the replay. I'm loving our new format for the Women Entrepreneur
I
Success
love
Show.
it.
I want to tell you, Valerie, that people are writing me and they're saying they're watching these and watching them 2 and 3 times to get the
Oh,
nuggets from people
good.
like you. So I am
Good.
so excited about what
Thank
everybody's
you.
going to learn from this. If you are a woman entrepreneur, definitely subscribe to our page, comment below, tell us about your business. And if you want to join Women Who Wow, message me, m.me/Women Who Wow. Where can we find you, Valerie?
I am Valerie Priester on all platforms, right? I make it super, super simple, which is another thing I teach my clients. Don't confuse your audience.
That's right.
It's Valerie Priester everywhere. Facebook, social media, all platforms. Valerie
Awesome.
Priester.
And she's tagged in this video, so you know how to spell
Thank
it.
you.
So, all right, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank
And I'll talk to you
you.
soon.
All right. Bye
Guys.
now.